What's up, everyone, and welcome to Among the Finns, my YouTube channel where I do music reviews. My name is Aaron, and today we're going to be checking out the new album Atlas Ruinica by the band The Wise Man's Fear. For those of you who are unfamiliar with this band, they are a Fantasycore band from Indiana. They started around 2015, and this is their fourth studio album. And I know a lot of you are probably wondering what Fantasycore is. It is basically just metalcore with lyrical content coming from fantasy concepts, I guess you could say. Their drummer and lyricist said that he gets a lot of his inspiration from various works like Tomb Raider, Chronicles of Narnia, video games like The Last of Us, and also books like The Magician's Nephew, and of course Patrick Rothfuss's books, The Kingkiller Chronicles. That's where they get their name. I actually have both of the books right here, waiting for him to come out with the third one. Name of the Wind and The Wise Man's Fear are two of the best fantasy books you could ever read. They're pretty long, I gotta admit, but they're still fantastic. And being a sucker for concept albums, I really enjoy basically everything that this band has done so far. I am a little worried though, because after listening to one of their singles, they used quite a bit of synth in it, which I'm not against whatsoever, but in metalcore it's really easy for bands, especially lately, for them to just layer everything over with synth and just let the synth carry the music, and basically the rest of the band gets drowned out. And I really hope that doesn't happen. I try not to judge singles too much for this specific reason, because a lot of times I'm wrong, and I really hope that I am. So yeah, let's jump into the album and find out. The album opens up with the song Tailspin. It comes in with this eruption of sound, and of course the sound of a plane tail spinning and going out of control. The intro has fantastic drone work and clean vocals, and the verse has a sick riff with distorted vocals in there, and the bridge is really heavy and melodic before it goes into a very open and insane sounding breakdown. This is definitely a really good opening track for this album, as it gets you ready for like this journey. It literally feels like you're starting to set out and you're gonna go somewhere. And then we have probably my favorite song on the album. It's really tough. There's a lot of really good ones on here. Where the Sky is Empty. It's got this really nice build into a clean intro, and the guitar melody and the rhythm really shine through. It sounds so good. The sort of vocals, I gotta admit, don't really do it for me too much at first, but they definitely evolve as the song goes on and it gets better and better. The interlude before the chorus builds up, and it's so suspenseful. It sounds so good. The chorus has this beautiful atmosphere to it with more clean vocals, and the lyrics really take you away. They suck you into the story, and the breakdown outro is super inspiring. Normally, I don't really care for a song like this in the song structure, or I guess it doesn't really, I mean, not that I don't care for it, just doesn't really wow me that much, but I found myself just really enjoying this. I like a little bit more proggy style songs with this sort of concept, but it's fantastic. Going from verse to chorus and verse chorus bridge, having this typical style of song structure, it just still works. They do it brilliantly. Submarine World has this dream sequence kind of vibe in the intro with clean vocals, and the distorted vocals are so powerful over one of the coolest riffs I've ever heard. The melody in the chorus is super catchy. It definitely leaves you wanting more, and the bridge is really gentle, but ends up building up into a big breakdown that has echoey kind of vocals. This song is like, it's on the border of being just a little too repetitive, but at the same time it just works because the music is constantly changing, keeps the vocals and the lyrics from being a little too redundant. Then we have another one of the best songs that I've heard, The Strength to Bury a Friend. It's got this ethereal kind of intro to it, and the verse is clean vocals with a beautiful piano, and the lyrics hit so hard. I recently lost a really close friend of mine over the past weekend, and this song is just perfect for what I was going through. I'm sure that this song is based in like a fantasy world of some sort, you know, but it's still captured in the moment and the emotion, and it's just so passionate. You could really feel it. It's got the perfect progression. Just a beautiful song, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. Sunchaser has a pretty inspiring intro thanks to the music and the lyrics. Even the verses are quite uplifting. The distorted vocals and the music kind of remind me of like The Ghost Inside, or maybe even like Misery Signals, how it just has this really uplifting and epic and inspiring sound to them. The duet between the two different vocal styles is absolutely brilliant, as is the interlude / kind of bridge section that's pretty mellow, and it has like this glimmering aesthetic to it Then we have the song The Rival, which comes in with vocals that sits kind of behind the mix, and the mix is kind of formed as different instruments join in until it comes into the verse. That is just absolutely chaotic with insane sounding vocals and music. And to me, the drums really steal the show here. The chorus is soaring with a great guitar melody in the background. And the bridge, or breakdown, I guess you could say, features Lauren Babrick. I'm not really sure how to pronounce her last name. She's the vocalist from Red Handed Denial and Crazy 88. And her distorted vocals are so freaking fierce. And they're so just in your face. And it's not really quite what I was expecting. I was expecting maybe she's going to take over on cleans, but coming in like that, it's just so intense. And then all three vocalists are featured in the outro, and it just makes for the perfect peak for like the halfway point of this album. The Absence of Light has this really cool riff in the intro, and I really love that they give you the chance to hear it and they really let it breathe. Before it goes into the verse, it's super aggressive. The vocals are so low and they get really guttural, and then at times they get pretty high to where they're almost snarling. The chorus is both clean and distorted vocals, followed by this chant. I'm not really sure where the chant comes from. And the first time I heard it, it was just, I don't know, it was just kind of there. It was just okay. It took me a little bit to really get into it, but it really fits the story and the concept of this album. And it flows so well. At first, it's, like I said, it could be a little cheesy maybe, but it works the more you listen to it. It's definitely the most like fantasy concepts inspired song on this entire album, I believe, complete with probably the best breakdown on the album, which is borderline hardcore. Then we have the song Maze Runner, which features Spawn, and I love that these two names just go together so well. It has like this Tron sounding kind of intro, like a retro synth beat to it. The lyrics portray what's happening in the story so well, and the synth beat changes quite a bit as the song progresses and it becomes heavier and heavier. It just kind of hangs out behind everything. The chorus keeps the same amount intensity as the verse until we get to verse 2, which is just absolutely brutal. Though I gotta say that the breakdown is pretty heavy, and I just love the way the lyrics fit the breakdown and its brutality as well. Then we have the song Sea of Fire, which is, it's got to be tied for my favorite song. It's just so good. It's got like this epic movie kind of intro thing with almost a death metal sounding verse in terms of just the vocals and the lyrics, and the riff at the end of the verse is so freaking groovy. You know, I just never wanted it to end. I could listen to the song over and over again. It's probably my least favorite chorus, admittedly, but it's still good. It's just not as complex as the others. I would definitely say this is more of a riff and verse kind of song that just has a catchy chorus to it. The bridge is quite a bit calmer as well, but it builds up and it just sounds so good. It sounds like there's this monster yelling at you in the breakdown. Literally, you can't understand what it's saying. It's like a demon or something. And it's just so good. Like, fitting the story and the way that it does, it's just perfect. I loved every second of it. And then we have the closing track, Solomon's Gate, which has another inspiring intro to it. And the lyrics are beckoning, especially in the chorus. It has brilliant drums that have like this breakdown quality about halfway through. Sounds fantastic. And then Jordan Radvansky, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He's the vocalist from Seraphim. He is featured in the bridge. And I wasn't really sure what to expect from him, distorted or clean vocals. And he brings clean vocals to the table. And they add a whole nother dynamic to this song. And the band and just overall sound is just so good. It's a phenomenal closing track as it completes the story and it wraps it all up. And it feels like you got a good amount of closure from start to finish. I basically love everything about this album. The clean vocals are unique, which I know it's a lot of issues that people have with this band, but I didn't find them lacking in any way. I love the tone and I love the way they were used throughout this album. It's same with the distorted vocals. I mean, they're fantastic. There's so much variety. They get super low and guttural. They get really high and snarling. At times they sound like an animal. Just the talent there is amazing to me. And musically, this whole album is beautiful. I'm sure that they will come out with an instrumental for it, and it's going to be great. If the lyrics don't pull you into the story, the atmosphere from the music alone certainly will. And the production is great too. You can hear everything that you need to hear. And in fact, the more you listen to it, the more things you'll start to hear. It's not overly compressed, which is an easy thing to do within this genre. It reminds me a little bit of like a mixture in like the Browning and like era maybe. Not too much in either direction, not nearly as heavy as the Browning and not nearly as, I guess, progressive as era. Just a little bit of both with their own style thrown in there. The only thing I didn't really care that much about in this album, or song to song, I guess, is each intro kind of sounded the same to me a little bit. They all have like this epic, slow kind of drum thing, or it comes in with like this atmospheric thing, and it's sort of, after a couple listens, it starts to sound the same. But I didn't really find this to be, I don't know, a takeaway. It didn't really hurt the album whatsoever. It didn't sound like it was a lazy thing to do. Each one definitely fit the song for sure. So it's something, a complaint somebody might have, and it's something I noticed, but again, it wasn't really an issue for me whatsoever. So with all that said, I gotta give Atlas Ruinica by the band The Wiseman Sphere a 9.1 out of 10. I know, I'm absolutely as amazed as you guys are. I'm sure you probably won't have such high regard for this album as I will, but I was completely floored by it. Every time I listened to it, I just got lost in it. It made it hard for me to even review it, just because I got so caught up in the story and the music. And I'd start off reviewing a song and I make it 3 songs into it, and I'm like, crap, I didn't even finish my review on I'm just listening to the music now, which is a very good sign for me. And not only that, but inspire me to go back and listen to their old music. And that's just one of the highest compliments there is, if you listen to a band and you just like, you can't get enough of them. And that's how I feel about this band. And also, it's my first review of the year, which is just, I don't know, it's crazy that it's so high. Or I guess it's one of my first reviews. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. Leave a comment below letting me know what you thought of Atlas Ruinica, and let me know what you would rate it. Let me know what your favorite song is. If you haven't listened to it, I know this band isn't that well known. I definitely check them out, give them a listen, at least a couple of their singles, and come back here and let me know what you think. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like. If you want to help support me and my channel, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell icon. Doing any of that stuff helps me out tremendously, and I appreciate you guys more than you could ever imagine. I know I say that in every one of my videos, but I mean, it's true every single time. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day or night whenever you happen to be watching this, and I will talk to you guys next time.
I was